A very good morning to all of you. We have been talking about figures of speech all these days. We have understood the figures of speech like irony, pun, etc. Now, in this lecture, we shall be talking about epigram. Epigram is a kind of rhetorical device. Rhetorical means you might be knowing it adds to the sound or adds to the what we call language of the literary piece. So this rhetorical or poetic device, let's call it in simple words, a literary or poetic device, and this is a kind of a very memorable, brief, interesting, surprising, and satirical statement. Epigram is a poetic device or a rhetorical device, and it is a memorable, brief, interesting, surprising, satirical statement. You are familiar with the word satire. Satire is a kind of literary piece in which fun is made of something. Okay, and this term originated from the Greek word epigramma. The original Greek word was epigramma, and it meant inscription or to inscribe. Inscription, you might be knowing the term inscription, to write, to carve on something. On you must, if you have visited any museum, etc., or any cave, you will come across, kind of ancient inscriptions. Means something is written on the stone, etc. Or if you know something about monuments, especially graveyards, if you visit, certain graveyards, you come across epigrams over there. So it's a kind of a written statement. It is carved one. These are actually indigenous, means local, or the idiomatic or witty statements. Now we'll see an example here so that you'll be able to understand what I am trying to explain here. I quote, it is a quotation by Roosevelt, Eleanor Roosevelt. I quote, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent, unquote. So you can understand, no one can make you feel inferior. You will not feel inferior. To feel inferior means inferior is opposite of superior. To feel low of yourself, that is inferior. No one can make you feel inferior. Others cannot make you feel that you are lower in your status, lower in your achievements, or you have got low status. Unless you give permission to. Consent means permission. So without your permission, no one can make you feel that you are low to someone. You are low in rank, or you are low in your intellectual abilities. So this is a catchy statement you can see. No one can feel. This is satirical statement, a very surprising, interesting statement. Uh, as I mentioned earlier, it is very common device, literary device, and it is used mostly in poetry, where it appears as a short satirical poem with a single subject. It can be a poem with a single subject, and it ends in an ingenious or witty thought. And the poem ends with some kind of witty. Witty means very full of wisdom, full of wiseness, we can say. And it is ingenious. Ingenious means something which shows your intellectual ability. So the poets like Alexander Pope, John Donne, William Shakespeare, S.T. Coleridge, all these poets popularized epigram as a literary device during the 16th through 18th centuries. They belong to different centuries. There is an Irish poet named Jane Wilde. He believed that epigrams were much better than an argumentative speech. We argue, for example, a lawyer, an advocate in a court gives an argumentative speech. You defend yourself. But Jane Wilde believes that epigrams are much better than the argumentative speech. So, in other words, we can say that an epigram is a brief, pointed statement or saying. So, it brings together words that apparently contradict each other, as in oxymoron. The language of the epigram is remarkable for its shortness, for its brevity, preciseness. Now, after reading these examples, you'll be able to understand what epigrams are. You come across epigrams, as I mentioned earlier, at the museums, at the monuments, or at the graveyard on the dead person's, grave. Let's see some examples of epigram that will make your ideas clear. Mankind must put an end to war, or war will put an end to mankind. It is a statement, epigram by John Kennedy, American president, one of the American presidents. Mankind must put an end to war, or the war will put an end to mankind. Another epigram by G. Wells: if we don't end war, war will end us. Roosevelt's statement: it is better to light a candle than curse the darkness. It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness. A word to the wise ain't necessary. It's the stupid ones who need all the advice. By Bill Cosby. Live simply so that others may simply live. Mother Teresa's thinking. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Michael Jackson. He was a dancer, you might be knowing. So he says, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Now, all these are very pointed sayings. In brief, these kind of statements give you a very great message. You can understand its remarkable brevity, preciseness, shortness. Now, for example, if you look at the statement by Michael Jackson, I'm starting with the man in the mirror, means I'm starting from myself. Okay, you see yourself in the mirror. Or Roosevelt says, it is better to light a candle than curse the darkness. Instead of cursing, instead of blaming the darkness, better to light a candle. You get a great message here. Okay. These are some of the examples from literature. I read it for you people. I'll read it. To see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. To see a world in a grain of sand. Even in a grain of sand, there is a world, and a heaven in a wild flower. So it talks about a positive attitude towards life. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand. So God can be seen, the Creator can be seen in your hand itself. and eternity in an hour. Even the hour becomes eternal for you people. So it means it is all about the positive statement, positive perspective of life. There are some more lines from by William Blake, Arguelles of Innocence. That is the title of the poem. Actually, I'm sorry, these lines are from that poem, Arguelles of Innocence. Very famous epigram is of William Wordsworth. The child is the father of the man. The child is the father of the man. In Marathi, we say "बाळाचे पाय पाळण्यात दिसतात." So you can understand. Means we can understand the intelligence and the abilities of the child in his childhood itself. बाळाचे पाय पाळण्यात दिसतात. That is the meaning in Marathi. There is one old saying: "Fools rush in where angels fear to tread." Only fools walk on wrong paths, bad paths. We can say the art lies in concealing art. The art lies in concealing art. Silence is sometimes more eloquent than words, conspicuous by its substance. Okay, this is how we understand that epigrams are memorable, brief, interesting, and surprising satirical statements. And they are witty sayings. They are well known for the message that they give, the deep message, in short.